What is happening, fellow Cobras? Welcome back to another interview on the channel. And today I'm joined by one of the creative masterminds behind the show we love so much, Cobra Kai, the great Emily Abbott. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, no problem. Like I said, really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know being a writer, it's a lot more than just putting pencil to paper. It's so freaking busy, right?
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely busy, especially, when you're working on stuff after work during the day, and we're in the thick of it right now. So it's been a grind, but it's fun.
yeah, and the usual adulting stuff, trying to balance a social life and everything. It's a challenge. We're all still trying to figure it out, but
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah. So my first question for you, I mean, I'm looking at my list. I'm like, oh, where do I start? But I guess the first way to start is just what is your history with like films growing up, and just what really wanted to get you into writing? Like, is writing where you want to be, or do you still want to go other places in the industry?
Yeah, I think I always was into films, but also just English type stuff, like reading, writing, all that. I was always like the English student type person, and I took creative writing like as many times as I could in high school. But I ended up going to UCLA, and I thought I was going to be a lawyer, which is why I convinced my parents to let me go there out of
Mhm.
state. And was an English major. And then when I got to LA, started realizing there's like a whole industry that writers have here called like screenwriting. And I didn't know anything about that from Michigan originally. So I didn't know that was a career. And I kind of slowly built up at UCLA. I added like a creative writing concentration, and then I added the film minor, and then started interning at different places around town. And that's how I kind of got into like, okay, I want to go through and be a screenwriter and go down that path. And yeah, just kind of work towards that from there, and definitely want to keep going down that path, and eventually one day have my own show and show run and do all the things that the guys do. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. You see, I kind of have like a similar experience. Like, I was never a good math student, never a good science student. Like, English was where one of the few subjects at first that I knew that I liked and I was good at. And
Mhm.
then when I went into college, I wanted to be a lawyer too. So that's kind of funny. And I went
That's
for
great.
criminal justice, and now
Oh,
my
cool.
job, I work in biotech for human resources. I couldn't have done more of a 180 there. So
Yeah, that's
it's kind of
crazy.
funny,
Yeah.
but no, that's super cool. Sometimes life works in really mysterious ways, and I mean, you've seemed like you've had like your dreams that you've wanted to do, and you've really stuck to it, and now it's paying dividends for you, and I'm so happy. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. That's so
Yeah,
crazy. You work in like a biotech job now.
yeah, yeah. I had no human resources experience before this, and now I'm thriving in it. So
There you
I
go.
yeah. So
Killing it.
yeah. So how did you get involved with like the creators, the big three, John, Josh, and Hayden, and just get on? Because I know you had been on for like, I don't know if it was your official title was a writer, or if you were just working your way up that ladder. How did
Have
you go about that?
a whole journey with them. I can go through it. I started my senior year of UCLA. I interned at Sony Pictures in the current programming department, and that was when Cobra Kai was, I think, writing and like filming season 2
Mhm.
type time. And I had never seen the Karate Kid movies at that
Wow.
point. So it was one of Cobra Kai was one of like the 10 shows that I was kind of interning on at Sony. And I kept just being like, I don't get what's going on in this Cobra Kai show. And they were like, have you seen Karate Kid? And I was like, no. So one day Sony, the executives like sat me down and made me watch all of the Karate Kid movies. And then I was like, oh wait, this is amazing. Like, this is so good. And it all clicked for me a little bit more. And then as my internship was ending and I was wrapping up at UCLA, I was looking for, my first like real adult job. And Cobra Kai was hiring a showrunner assistant for season 3. I applied to it, and I can't remember who it was, but they were like, you don't have enough experience. No. So I got turned down. And then I was like, well, you guys probably need a writer's PA if you're hiring a showrunner assistant. And they were like, oh yeah, we hadn't thought of that yet. Do you want to interview for that? So I think I was the only one who even like interviewed, I'm pretty sure, for the writer's PA job on season 3 because of my like Sony connection. So that's kind of how I got in with them in the first place, was through the Sony internship. And then I was the writer's PA for season 3 of Cobra Kai. And then I moved over to Counterbalance and was the development assistant for a year, mostly under Tina Hillier, but also with the guys. And then kind of got bumped up to junior executive of development there and was going down the development path, but always wanted to get back to the writing side. So then during the pandemic, was working remote for Counterbalance. And then we got a season 5 pickup, and I asked if I could be the showrunner assistant on season 5 so I could move back over to like Cobra Kai specifically and be like in the writer's room again and be on the production side. So when I was their showrunner assistant, sorry, it was such a long winding tale, but I was their showrunner assistant for season 5. I went down to Atlanta and was on set with them. And then when Obliterated got picked up, they promoted me to writer's assistant and script coordinator on that show. And then when Cobra Kai got to season 6, they promoted me to writer. So then this is my first season as like a writer on one of their shows, but it's been like a journey.
That's awesome. And couldn't be one of the better seasons to start being like officially like writing on that, the biggest and baddest season. That's so cool.
It's fun. It's fun that I've been able to see it grow too, because when I started, it was still on YouTube. So it's been crazy.
Yeah. And one of the things I did not know, I mean, I probably should have known this because the big three have such like, it seems like they have such a close knit group of people that they know they like working with. They know who are good at their jobs, like you and just so many other people that we've seen appear in the show. And you actually worked on Obliterated too, and you had a little cameo in there, I noticed.
I mean, little known fact, I had a cameo in Cobra Kai season 5 that Netflix cut. So I was like, okay, you guys got to put me in Obliterated now since that got cut. It's on my Instagram, but that Olive Garden scene originally had a little hostess guiding him to the table, Miguel to the table. And that was me.
That should have been you. That should have been you. Oh my God.
So sad. But yeah, so I was down in Albuquerque for Obliterated for the script coordinating stuff, and then it was like, I'm going in this scene. Put me in.
So now we're on the topic of Obliterated. Like, how is that different? Like, obviously it's other worlds different from Cobra Kai, but it still had like some similar elements. What was it like working with the guys on that show compared to Cobra Kai?
I think the biggest crazy difference was just how much more time each episode had in Obliterated. Yeah. I feel like Cobra Kai were always trying to pack so much story into each episode, and Obliterated we could really spread it out and dive deeper into character stuff, and you're with the same characters kind of the whole time. So it was fun. It was fun because like usually in the room we're saying raunchy R-rated comic stuff, and it doesn't get to go into Cobra Kai, but in Obliterated, I don't know if you've watched it, but there's a lot of raunchy, crazy stuff going on in there. So it was really fun.
Oh yeah, poor Trunks. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh man, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. It was definitely a nice change of pace, and to see like the big three go back to their roots of raunchy R-rated comedies. Like was American Reunion's my favorite, and the Hot Tub Time Machine, Josh Heald. So all good stuff. And I like how they sprinkle that into like not totally raunchy, but I love how you guys like sprinkle that into Cobra Kai.
Yeah, there's little moments, especially with Johnny. I feel like that we can get away with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Who would you say is your favorite character? If you could have a favorite character to write for, who?
Definitely Tori is mine. I feel like I just love the younger female characters, obviously, too. I feel like it's just a lot more easy and natural for me to understand their voices. And I'm friends with Peyton too. And I just like love, like, I'm like, oh my God, it's so cool. I'm writing for my friend's character. And yeah, I think she has the most interesting backstory and a lot to write to and a lot of drama going on all the time. And yeah, her character's really interesting to me.
Yeah. I love Sam too. I'm like, I know Sam gets a lot of like flack around.
You get so much hate on the internet. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't get it. I even told Mary this when I met her in 2021. I'm like, Sam's the GOAT. What's going on with all this hate? And she loved it because she sees a lot of haters, I'm sure. But that you actually kind of answered my next question was because I only really started getting into like the whole development of films and like doing my research on it. So I didn't really know like if you had met a lot of the cast or what your relationships like was with them. So what would you say it's like with like everybody?
Since I was on set for all of season 5, that's when I really like met them all and got to know them. And that was still it wasn't the pandemic, but it was still like kind of pandemic-y. So we kind of were in a bubble, not totally. But I'm trying to think. I'm definitely like closest with Peyton, but like I'm friendly with everybody else. And it just depends. Some people are on set way more than others. Some people have their different prepping where they'll be in their trailer right before they're seen, or some people just hang out before they're seen. So it depends. But yeah, I got to know most of them. I went out with them for Halloween when I was on set, and that's when I kind of met all of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Who'd you say is the biggest, depending on how much you were on set, who would you say is like the biggest jokester that you've?
I feel like Jacob.
Yeah, that's a pretty common question or answer that a lot of people get, especially with him and Sholo. They're like two peas in a crazy pod, especially with their podcast. It's so freaking funny.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know how much younger. I'm 26. I don't know how old Jacob is, but I think he's a few years younger than me. And he was giving me so much shit that I still use Snapchat to like talk to my friends. And I was like, oh my God, is that not cool anymore? Like,
you're not alone. I do it too. And I'm 25, so I think we got a few years on these little kids.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I'm not cool.
Yeah, because we've had Snapchat. I think it came out like when I was like a freshman, and I think that was like 2013. So we've had it for a while.
Been a cornerstone of my social.
I know, right?
Networking.
And I use Facebook still, and I know people think I'm probably old for using that still.
Facebook has a lot of good qualities. Like, I like to check in on what's going on with everyone getting married in my hometown, you know?
Yeah, making me feel bad because I should be married by now, probably.
Aren't you engaged? Didn't I see that on something?
Yeah, we have no plans though yet. we got a lot to work on.
You're further along than me, so you're doing well.
So, what advice would you have? Because I've met so many like people who have asked me like, Cody, what advice do you have to people getting in the industry? I'm like, I have no industry experience. So now that we have someone with some incredible industry experience, Emily, what would you say? What advice would you give to people that are really aspiring to get into the industry or like the writers' rooms or?
Yeah, I feel like if you're younger, you're in college or about to go to college, definitely interning. If you can find internships, when I was in college, I applied, I think, to like 100 internships one summer. It's a numbers game. Those kind of like early jobs, you just got to apply to everything. If you're a little older out of college, I think assisting at like a talent agency is a huge way that people break in, like the mailroom at CIA type of thing, or a management company. Really, like the assistant route is, it's my only perspective into breaking into the industry. So I think it's a great one to go. Like internships to assistant jobs and like putting in the time and the grunt work and like doing those annoying long hour, hard assistant jobs, and networking and going from there. I think I see a lot of people that want to be writers, but don't want to do any lower level jobs than if they want to jump into being a writer. And maybe that works, but I feel like it's a lot easier to build your network and like learn and get experience by just taking those hard jobs and pushing through.
No, that's great advice because, yeah, like I said, I have a close friend who's a couple friends who are really trying to. They actually just submitted their series that they've been working on for like the past 2 years into some writing competition. I think it's tied with the WGA. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'm hoping they've been working hard on it. So I'm hoping that something comes out of it.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. Like it really is. You just got to put yourself out there and see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, when you're working with like the big three, now that you're on the writing team, and like just how much freedom would you say they give? I know everything probably has to get passed through them when like things are getting added to the script and stuff, but how much freedom would you say that you have when you're in that writer's room and coming up with ideas?
Yeah, I think a lot of freedom. They kind of set the big structure for where they see the whole season going, and each episode, I feel like they have a plan and a vision for what needs to happen or what they want. But from there, like we're all breaking it together and figuring out story together. And like those early blue sky days of going through an episode, really anyone can throw out any idea that might work and just see what lands. So yeah, and like I think in script stuff, you're definitely able to put in some of your own stuff and own things that you want to see in an episode. And if they like it, they'll keep it in. So yeah, I think there's a lot of freedom. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I love about the big three is that they are so passionate about this franchise, and there's not saying that some people on certain projects don't care, like other projects don't care, but I feel like there's an extra level of care that the
Yeah,
big three and you guys put in, because
totally.
everybody's like mega fans of this franchise and the show.
Yeah, I feel like everything comes out of a place for just love for the characters and love for the franchise, and like not wanting to disrespect any part of the franchise ever. So they definitely, yeah, care a lot, which is awesome.
Yeah, and what I love is that like you said, one of my questions was, "What's your experience with the Karate Kid?" And I kind of love that you said you hadn't seen them, because you offer a completely different perspective from probably a majority of the people
Yeah.
in that writers' room, because you saw Cobra Kai first, right? Or did you?
Yeah. I saw Cobra Kai the first 2 seasons first. And then yeah, I do think like it was helpful because I'd only seen like when we were talking about Terry Silver in earlier seasons, like I wasn't as familiar with the character as these guys who like deeply knew him and had seen the movie a million times. I was more like fresh eyes and could kind of play that, like those audience members that maybe have only seen the Karate Kid, the first movie, and haven't watched the whole franchise. Like, will they understand the stuff that we're playing to? Like, how much do we need to explain? How much can be understood from like the movies? Yeah, I feel like people are gonna be mad at me that I hadn't seen the Karate Kid movies growing up.
No,
But
no way. No,
yeah,
no. But what I love about this show probably the most is that how it's like that generational show. Like I watched this show with my grandparents, my mom, my
yeah,
fiance, my little brothers, and it's so cool because it can connect to so many different audiences. You'll see like at like Comic Cons, kids that are like 4 or 5 years old with like a insane hawk cosplay with like a massive
yeah.
mohawk, and it's so cool to see.
It's so
And
cute. My sister is a second grade teacher, and which I'm like, oh my god, second graders watch the show. It seems a little old for them, but I for the past couple of years have done like career day with them and like talked about the show, and they're just all so obsessed with it. They're running around, they think it's so cool, and I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. The range of ages that are watching this show.
yeah,
It's you don't see that a lot. It's cool.
yeah, and when you watch the show first, it's like, wait, there's a prequel I gotta go watch. So I think that's cool too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So with obviously season 6 coming to an end, were you surprised by that decision, or were you kind of like, no, this makes perfect sense?
I think more the latter. I feel like, especially having worked with them on this for a few years now, I kind of knew where they saw it ending. And you get to a point where like you want to make sure the characters have gone on journeys that are fulfilling and you're not just dragging things out for the sake of episodes. Like I feel like our characters are getting close to like arcing fully and their journeys are ending. And yeah, I think it's, they knew it was the right time to end it. So I'm glad they got the, decision to end it here.
Yeah, me too. And like a character like Johnny, who is at probably the lowest point of his life when the series started, he has everything he could have wanted now. He's friends with Daniel. He's got a baby on the way. He's got maybe a potential marriage on the way. He's got his surrogate son and his real son in the same household again. And it's just everything's come full circle, and you just love to see that. And even Daniel's put his rivalry with Johnny aside, which we never thought would happen, and everything in his house is going good. Miguel and Sam are on good terms. And
Yeah,
what
it's
I
pretty
love,
satisfying to see all the characters come to this place.
yeah, and the difference with season 5 that I loved so much was that it wasn't the most jaw-dropping cliffhanger. It ended kind of, it was almost like an ending with a couple loose ends,
Mm-hmm.
and that was definitely interesting to see, considering the cliffhangers we've had the past few seasons. So I thought that was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, you think it's over, but it's not.
Yeah, I was about to say, oh, you're smiling. Yeah, I know. I knew some sort of chaos is coming.
There's always more chaos. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I can't freaking wait. So out of the 3 dojos, which would which one suits you? You think?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I mean, wow, I've never thought about that. I feel like you gotta say like Eagle Fang, like a little mix of both,
Yes.
a little mix of everything. Nice. Yeah. Like, but in reality, I probably would run away if someone tried to attack me with karate. So
Yeah. You've never taken martial arts before?
I learned on set how to do the axe kick. Ken Bearfield, one of the stunt coordinators, he taught me how to do an axe kick, and I was like, okay, that seems like I can use that one move to get me through life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken's a badass. He comes up with some insane. I said crazy choreography.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And it's just insane for me to see how far the younger actors have really grown in their martial arts, especially Mary. I think she's like, I don't even think her character, because she was like kind of an Allie Mills character, she didn't even realize she was going to get into karate, I don't think, when she first auditioned. So when they came to, when they came to her, she was kind of surprised and she had no experience. And now look at her. She's the bonsai badass.
Yeah. I mean, she's running around on set with her size, like practicing all her moves and stuff too. So she's into it. It's awesome.
That's so cool. What would you say is your favorite season if you had to pick?
Maybe season 2. I think that's just like really, I mean, I don't know. They're all so different. I feel like season 2, and now I'm mixing them up in my head, but that's when Tori comes in and we have the big school fight at the end, right? That's season 2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just love all that stuff. I mean, I love the Tori character, so her coming in as an addition, I just think it really elevated the show and the stakes and the characters. And yeah, that school fight is just the craziest thing ever. It's amazing. And the cliffhanger ending, like, it's good stuff.
Yeah, season 2's got that like comfort summer vibes going on. That's just I don't know. It's a feel good season besides the end, because the end of that.
End. Yeah,
but it's definitely my favorite season changes all the time. So and that's when you know you got a hit right there.
Yeah, that's so great.
So rounding out, I mean, we kind of blew through these questions. It's gone by so quickly, but we got an announcement that a new Karate Kid film is coming. How do you feel about that? Are you excited?
I literally know like nothing about that.
Really?
Yeah. It's so like in a different world from what we're focused on right now. But I definitely will watch it, and it should be interesting. I have no info, but I'll watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little nervous at first. I'm like, Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, how's that going to work? But then I'm like, but Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are in it. It's got to be good.
I think it has to be, right? Yeah. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of people very apprehensive about it, and I get where they're coming from, but I'm willing to give it a try. And I don't think Ralph would commit to something if he didn't know it would be good, because he obviously cherishes Daniel LaRusso and just the whole universe. So
are you gonna apply to be casted in it?
I didn't really fit the description very much as like the main character. I mean, if I shaved off my beard, I could get away with a 17-year-old, maybe. But maybe for an extra. We'll see.
I'm like so confused how that works, like this open casting. Like, who is sitting and like going through? It must be so many people sending in tapes and applying. Like, I guess someone at Sony. I don't know who's doing it, but it's crazy.
I think they got like 10,000 submissions in the first week.
Oh my god!
Who's going through that? Oh my gosh.
That is crazy. Wow.
I think it's supposed to take place in Brooklyn. I don't know where they're filming it, but I'm only a few hours from New York. I'm right in Boston, so maybe I'll see if there's any other openings.
Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I have no acting experience. I'd probably be just a NPC number 1 in the back or something.
I have no acting experience either, which is probably why they cut me from my scene.
I thought you were pretty good in Obliterated.
Oh, thanks.
You really sold like your reactions really well, and I know you had to act like a little tipsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it. I was like, oh, she had a few martinis or something.
Wow, perfect. Thank you.
No, if I don't see you in season 6, I'm gonna send a message to John or Hayden and be like, what are you doing, man? Why isn't she in the season? Get her in.
I've already told them a role that I want, and they were like, I think you've had your moment. It's like, no.
Oh, come on.
They didn't actually say that, but that was the vibe of what they said. They were like, okay, maybe. And I'm like, I know what you mean, but I'm not taking that for an answer yet.
How difficult is it to take Hayden seriously? Because I know he is such a troll. Is he always like that?
90% of the time. He gets, yeah, it's so funny when people are first like meeting him and they aren't sure if he's kidding or not. He's like one of those people that you can't tell if he's joking or serious. But
Yeah.
I love it. I love Hayden.
You know what I hope they do? I want well, obviously I think there's going to be a premiere for season 6, but I just want it to be a massive event where so many people can like come and just one last hurrah with like everybody from like the fandom. I think that'll be so cool.
Yeah, they did something like that last year or 2 years, whenever the season 5 premiere was. There was like a big field or park that they rented out, and there was a big jumbo like screen, and fans could come and hang out and stuff. So maybe something like that again would be really cool.
Yeah, I was so like gutted that I couldn't go to that. It was just because I think it was a little too short notice for me, but I was so jealous of everybody that got, because you were there, right?
Yeah, I literally like landed on a flight from France and went straight to the thing from the airport, and it was the most chaotic day of my life. I was like delirious the whole time, but I was there physically.
That's awesome. Because you're based in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the benefits of living in LA.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, so I think that's all I got for you, Emily. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so cool. It went by way too fast, but
but I'm proud of myself. I was so worried I was going to say like a spoiler or something, and I'm like, okay, I made it. I didn't say anything. I'm good.
If you did, I would cut it out right away. And nobody's getting any scoops here.
Thank you.
No problem. But guys, thank you all so much for watching. Emily, thank you so much again, and we'll probably ask her to come on after season 6 is out and give us all like the funny details and everything. So
all the tea. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. See you guys in the next one.